Hello, welcome to the channel if you haven't been here already. I hope you like this video. We're at all top of this for round 6 of the FIA Nations Cup. I haven't been on GT for about 10 days, been out doing some real racing, so look out for that footage too soon. But yeah, hope you enjoy this video. We'll see how it goes. Not expecting too much, and yeah, let's try and enjoy it. Okay then, so we joined the action at the end of qualifying. We've done one lap already and we're 3/10 off of P1, but that has put us down in 15th place. And we crossed the line then and don't go any faster. And yeah, you can see just how close qualifying is in this session. 3/10 off the pace and we're down in 15th at the moment. But you can see just quite a few cars still completing their laps, and eventually we actually qualified down in 17th place then. So it's a bit of a weird one for FIA this week in the Nations Cup. It's a 12 lap race around Autopolis short course, which only takes about 1 minute. Well, we saw in qualifying 1 minute 11s in these Group 4 cars. And yeah, 12 laps is pretty short then. So we're going to be finishing the race in under 15 minutes. And there's no pit stop required. We've only got one set of tyres that we need to use for the whole race, which is the racing medium tyres. We don't really need to save the tyres too much. There's no fuel saving required, so it's pretty much a flat out sprint race. So we're in the Subaru, and you can see just how well the Subaru gets away off the line. So we've gone to 17th, up to 15th by the first corner. Fortunately, we've got the inside line here. Everyone seems to get through turn 1 without any problems at all. It's a very, very tricky turn 1 at Autopolis. It's a blind as you turn in, and it's very easy to miss the apex. So coming down into turn 2 then, again, you really want to be on the inside here if possible. And again, it looks like everyone's got through without any issues. So coming down round to the hairpin then, very defensive line everyone's taking as we get a bit of a tap behind from Miu, I think he is there. Yeah, I mean, during a race, that hairpin has a very, very tight entry, because if you leave the door open, you will have cars trying to dive up the inside. So side by side with the Alfa Romeo there, but the Alfa is very, very quick through the fast corners, so we're unable to do anything. And then we've got Miu out around the outside through the final corner. But the Subaru is very, very good on traction, obviously being four-wheel drive, so you get very good drive out of the corner, but it suffers a little bit with the medium speed and the high speed corners. So we see up ahead then the Alfa Romeo trying to go up the inside of the Megane there, and does it successfully, but the Megane sort of takes a tight line out of the corner. We just end up tapping him a little bit, which slows down the speed we have and the exit, and that allows Miu to get a bit of a run on us and send it down the inside into turn 2. So very good move there from the British driver. But it's at this point in the race that I started thinking to myself, it's not really a great FIA race, because if you qualify at the back of the grid, you kind of just have to do the whole thing. There's not really much chance of moving far up the field because there's no strategy. It's not a circuit that particularly creates a lot of overtaking opportunities, and it's quite a short race, so you don't even have the time to make your progress forwards. As we see there, a bit of a dive bomb from the French driver there going around the final corner. But I'm just going to forward it here, and again you'll see that not really much is happening over the next lap or so. Very, very sort of line astern. And like I said, it's just a bit processional really. So I really think that FIA races should have an element of strategy. I don't really like the idea of these short sprint style type FIA races, because it makes qualifying even more crucial. And with the way qualifying is at the moment, with the need to get a slipstream all the time, as we see Mu up ahead getting a half-second penalty. But yeah, with the need for getting a slipstream in qualifying, especially in these Group 4 cars, I just don't like it that much. I don't really like how important slipstream is in qualifying, and we'll see again a little bit later in this video what you need to do to get a slightly better lap. As we're up the inside of Mumu going into turn 1, but we missed our braking point by quite a bit there. We managed to make the corner, but unfortunately we have a very poor exit which allows 2 drivers to go past us. Mimo will obviously have to serve his half-second penalty towards the end of that. But going back to what I was saying, I think that, you know, we should have races in FIA that if you do qualify near the back of the grid, you still have a chance of making some positions up and getting a good result with some good strategy and some clean driving, clean overtakes. And the other thing is as well is the time slots. I think that if, as Moose serves his penalty here and we get the move done, I feel like if they're going to put such short races on, we should have more opportunities to race. At the moment, we've got 1 slot every an hour and 20 minutes, and if you're only having a 15-minute race, you just have to sit around waiting for ages before you can go again. So the Alpha are up ahead then, defending very well through turn 1. We're going to see if we can have a look going down into turn 2, but we're not quite close enough at this point to go for a move, and the Subaru is going to be struggling a little bit compared to the Alpha through this middle section, so I'm just going to forward the lap around a little bit then, and we're coming down into turn 1, and we accidentally just clip our rear wheels on the grass as we're under braking, and that sends us off into the gravel. And it just shows when you haven't been on the game for a little while, you just need to get used to where those dimensions are, especially in a camera view like this. But if you look up towards the top of the screen then, at the rear view mirror, you can see out of nowhere an Alpha is off the track behind us. There's an explosion, and well, it kind of helps us onto the track at that point. But then we get the famous SR down and 2-second penalty for colliding with another car. So it was clearly our fault then. We were on the grass and blocking the driver behind. So we serve our penalty on the lap afterwards, but we're last place, miles behind everyone. So we decided to pit and yeah, go on to the next one. So having a look at this lobby then, lots of names we recognise. We've got Jay Talesy there, we got Basic Ollie, and quite a few others that we've raced before, Trevisio. But this is what I'm talking about qualifying. You can see having to go very slow, trying to find the slipstream. Unfortunately, we kind of missed the gun a little bit with Epic Toby there up ahead, and he's in the Subaru, obviously very, very good on the traction for that last corner. So we've lost the slipstream here as we go down the start-finish straight, and as we come around the final corner to finish our lap then, Epic Toby, I think, well, he looks like he was pulling out of his lap, but as we go to take the last little kink, he suddenly appears on our inside, so not really sure what happened there. So sorry to Epic Toby if you are watching, just thought you'd pulled out of your lap. So we qualified 8th then in this one, and yeah, I know last race not really much happened until our little accident, but hopefully we can try to make some places up here and get some overtakes done and possibly get a good result. So again, the grid very, very close all the way down, and basically they're in a Lamborghini. I'm not really sure about the choice of car there. Clearly one he's probably left up to the viewers to decide based on that. Well, I think the Lambo is pretty good off the line, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, we've had quite a good start then as we head down into turn 1, but unfortunately are on the outside, which is not where we want to be. There's a little bit of contact and we get forced a little bit wide, as up ahead there's a bit of drama, and fortunately we've been able to avoid that, and that does give us a bit of a run going down this second straight. But unfortunately we're going to be on the outside here as the pink Alpha just kind of takes a lot of speed there and uses us as a brake a little bit and forces us wide. So we've dropped down to 9th as we see the Portuguese driver up ahead with a very interesting livery on that Renault Megane, clearly trying to implement some distraction tactics there with a livery like that. Maybe some of the younger generation on Gran Turismo may be phased, but I will not let it affect me as I'm now nearly, well, I don't want to say, I like to call myself mid-20s, but we are approaching 30 quite soon. So coming on to the back straight then, and we're going to jump forwards on towards the end of lap number 3, as not really much happened over those first 2 laps. Again, kind of settling down into a bit of a rhythm in this race, with everyone staying in the same position. So coming into the final corner then, we're late on the brakes and we keep it parked nicely on the apex and get a good exit, and that enables us to move up into 8th place. But you can see here that the Portuguese driver we've just passed is going to start picking up the slipstream of those cars in front while we're on slightly inside line, so we're not getting that tow, and he's going to be able to come back at us, and we're going to have to remake the move again going down into turn 1. And he's very late on the brakes, and we get through turn 1 nice and cleanly, giving plenty of space on the exit of the corner. As we see in the mirrors, the Alpha coming up closely behind as well, but we've got the inside line for turn 2, so we're going to get this one done. But a bit of contact behind then, and unfortunately that Portuguese driver gets forced wide by the French driver in the Alpha there. But as we look up ahead then, we're still very, very close to 5th, 6th and 7th. So it looks like we might be able to make some progress forwards in this race. But again, now that bit of drama's got out of the way, we're just going to let it fast forward. And again, you can just see that not really much happens in this race, unfortunately. It's just a combination that doesn't really provide too much excitement. And as a driver, when you know there's not really any strategy you can do, everyone's just kind of driving flat out, but you're unable to make too much progress really on other cars, especially at this sort of level where every driver in this race is, you know, they're good enough to be able to win. So it's very, very close. As we see there, the British driver going very deep into the final corner as he makes that overtake, so forcing the SCK driver a little bit wide there, and he tries to jump back into the slipstream of the British driver. Not quite room, so we have to back out a little bit, and the British driver going very, very defensive into turn 1. We're going to be on the outside here. We try and avoid any kind of contact, but unfortunately it ruins our exit from turn 1, but luckily the French driver behind isn't able to capitalise on it, and we've got the inside line for turn 2, so we managed to hold our position here. And coming around towards the hairpin then, looks like it's all going to remain nice and tidy going through here, and there's probably going to be an attack set up towards the end of the lap, maybe on the start finish straight. So just speeding around a little bit then onto the start finish straight going down towards turn 1, and the British driver is going to go for the move up the inside. We're going to see if we can perhaps follow him through, and fortunately for us we are just about able to do that, and we managed to stay in the slipstream. The German driver isn't able to move across to defend because we're just close enough to the British driver up ahead, and we get that move done with the inside line going into turn 2 then. So bit of progress up to 7th place, 1 position gained since the start of the race, 3 laps left, although that only equates to about 3 minutes really. It looks like 4th and 5th place are too far up the road now, that we're not going to be able to challenge them for position as we go into the final couple of laps. So it's just going to be a battle for 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th then. It looks like us 4 cars driving pretty close to each other at this point. And as we go round the final combination of corners then, the Alpha up ahead getting a little bit sideways. It's very, very oversteery, that car, and it does take a bit of a unique skill to master and become quick in it. And we're going to start picking up the slipstream here then, and he's going to go defensive, very defensive, onto that white line going down into turn 1, but we're unable to make the move around the outside. There is a little bit of contact and we just get 2 wheels on the grass, but manage to keep it together. And again, he's going very defensive into turn 2, so we're not going to be silly and try to launch it around the outside here, because that would just be a bit crazy and would probably result in us ending up out of the race once again. So tidy through this hairpin and the middle sector, but like I said earlier, unfortunately these races aren't particularly exciting, and we stayed in position until the end of the race. So it kind of just brings me back to the theme of this video, is that I don't think FIA races should be like this. I think there should be some strategy involved, and they really should be a little bit longer and give drivers who haven't qualified well an opportunity to move up the field and score some good points. So yeah, for me, I don't think it should be an FIA race. But yeah, that's just my opinion, I suppose. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like and feel free to subscribe if you haven't already.